The story begins in the other world where the elder spirit who lives there asks a human to do some trimming. This man named Eisen stepped up and cut the spirit tree like it wasn't that big of a deal. This is no ordinary man. This is the human who fought the demon blade and took refuge under the elder spirit's care. However, Eisen wasn't alone here because he got Rin, his acquaintance. After a long time of decision, Eisen finally announces to Rin that he will be journeying to the human world. He showed Rin the mountains of letters coming from Eisen's other apprentices who are now working in various professions, from sages to rulers of an empire. They are called the 100 Geniuses, and all of them crave Eisen's praises, which is why they're sending him monthly letters. This time, Eisen wanted to see it for himself, so he chose one letter to guide him on that new journey. Since the thought was great, Rin decided to come along, and they went out together. For the first time in 20 years, Eisen opened the gate of light where they would enter the human world. Simultaneously, the elder spirit and her children were there to bid them farewell. Before they could step in the gate, Eisen reminded Rin that their travel would be kept secret from his apprentices. But it seemed like that wouldn't work because, at the center of Riga City, we could see the Emperor gleaming with joy. He finally received news that the person who calls himself a prophet would return, and he was sure that it was going to be his master. This emperor is Duke Dario, one of Eisen's apprentices and definitely one who worships him the most. On the other hand, Eisen and Rin finally get to see human greenery and are glad to be in an era where humans can live comfortably. However, they noticed Eisen's staff was glowing, which was a direction to his sealed power. They followed the glow and were led to a tree where Eisen sealed his magic 20 years ago when battling the sword demon. Now that they're there, he takes back his magic, and it is immediately in the book of his staff. It was like a confirmation, so now his power is stronger than before. It wasn't their goal to retrieve his magic back because all he wanted was to visit his apprentices, but I guess it was a must. Then, after walking out of the forest for a while, they sensed danger. There were fewer trolls that appeared out of nowhere. They were supposed to be on the outskirts of town, but it seems that they found their way to their death. Rin was ready to exterminate these monsters, but Eisen wanted to test his power first. The trolls were launching themselves towards Eisen, but with just a blazing spear, he was able to set these monsters ablaze and burn them all down into ashes. After that, they were able to retrieve a magic stone that could be exchanged for goods, so now the walk towards the city continues. However, they came across a helpless girl who accidentally lost an important key. Of course, Eisen offered to help, to which the girl accepted. To do that, Eisen asked the Earth Spirit to lead him where the key was on the girl's belt, and that's how he got to see that while the girl chased away a kobold, she dropped it near the log. He was right, it was near the log, and the girl couldn't be more thankful for the two strangers. With that, she invited Eisen and Rin to stop over at her shop called the Alchemist's Garden at the Global Guild, wanting to repay their kindness. After the girl left, Eisen and Rin were glad to start their journey with a smile, now that Eisen is hyped to start the day. Later, the two arrived at the pioneer city, Sagittale. Not much has changed since Eisen left, and the first thing they went to was the Global Guild's branch. It is for unions to gather information on professionals from around the world. Rin knew about that place since it was mentioned in one of the letters from the guild master, and seeing it in person gave Eisen the feels. Afterward, the two entered the building and went to the receptionist named Kaida, who will be accommodating the two newbies. They were there to get an adventurer card to travel the world, which was brave for Kaida, so she handed them a job form so they could get diagnosed with a proper job. Eisen was having trouble because there wasn't any profit written, but Kaida advised him not to say that or else he'd be in danger. Prophets are extinct because the Emperor asked the guards to take and secure the people who call themselves prophets. Eisen seems guilty, knowing that the Emperor was his apprentice, so he chose the description of a spiritualist and finally got his card. But the next step was to see Eisen's magic power to avoid accidents and dangerous work. Kaida brought out a great invention by the guild master's counselor, which was another of Eisen's apprentices. Anyway, Eisen touched the board and all the glass shattered. That caught the others' attention, so Kaida had to step up and see the upper rank board. Sensing that this might backfire, Eisen controlled his power, so he gets to be ruled out as a C-rank spiritualist adventurer. Still, it was pretty high for a spiritualist, and everyone was praising him. Meanwhile, Rin also took her class as a magician in C-rank. But before they could part ways with the guild, there was a farewell lesson where an experienced spiritualist would be giving a free lecture to the newbie, secretly genius, Eisen. The one in charge of teaching Eisen will be Dominique, an E-rank spiritualist. This is to guide the newbie on their next way to work at a company, which was advised by Felicia, another of Eisen's apprentices. So, following the current flow, Eisen accepted the class, and the two went to the training room. To start, Dominique showed Eisen the spirit he's been on contract with. It was a blue light that he used to scout the premises during a mission. Instead of using his eyes, he asked the spirit to fly over the sky to look for any monsters around. Another thing he taught was how to communicate with the spirit. Dominique uses the trading method, where he trades magic with the spirit in return for a favor. After teaching the basics, Eisen pointed out that the spirit talks to him a lot. That surprised Dominique, so he asked Eisen politely to translate it for him. Eisen then said that the spirit thanked Dominique for patting it, and the spirit showed happy motions. Dominique was thankful for Eisen's help, but in the end, it was Dominique who was taught instead. Afterward, Eisen went back to Rin, who was studying the city's map. They have enough money to stay at an average inn for 3 months, but then the girl who lost her key earlier catches them. She invited the two to the alchemist's garden, and since it functions at an inn, the woman offered to let them stay for free as repayment. After a few minutes of walking, they arrived at the biggest building in the city, the alchemist's garden. The staff welcomed President Eureka, so she introduced herself as Eureka Griffin. As Eureka took care of Eisen and Rin's accommodation, the staff were talking about them right in their faces. It seems like the rumors about them have spread like wildfire, which isn't good if they were to keep their journey incognito. Later on, Eureka returned with an old man who thanked Eisen and Rin for helping Eureka. To explain why the president was outside the city perimeter, she said that she was looking for a certain herb. She might be the president, but her master, Wizard Mel, taught her to do her role even if there are other people who have the same roles as her. Eisen knows who this wizard is because he's also one of his apprentices, but Eureka shared that the wizard is a professor at the magic university she went to. Speaking of, we can see Mel getting her report from the guild when one of her assistants says that she has a guess, which turns out to be the Duke. The Duke was there to tell Mel about the good news he received in his recent fortune-telling. It is said that a prophet is coming, although they weren't sure if it was going to be their master. Either way, the two were preparing to welcome their master. However, he wasn't just there to talk about the good news, they also had a problem occurring. The number of monsters around has increased for the past few months, and the guild is running out of magicians. So the two decide to take care of it once Mel goes back to the capital. This is a situation that they surely wish for their master to come back. The next day, back in the alchemist's garden, Eisen woke up earlier than Rin, which was unusual. But you can blame the human bed for it. Eisen was already in decent clothing before Rin woke up. Eisen can't blame her, though, since her body clock is messed up due to the world since they're traveling the world. On that day, they decided to go sightseeing at Sagittale and unwind for a bit. After roaming around the city, the two still ended up at the rooftop of Alchemist's Garden after Eureka opened it up, especially for them. Looking over the city from there, the two of them were reminded of Mel and all of her stories. Eisen then decided that he would introduce Rin to her, thinking that this would eventually help Rin. After that, the two of them decided to eat at the guild when, all of a sudden, Keisha came up to them and offered a request. They continued the conversation to the reception room, where they saw Dominique, who was also asked to take up the request. Shortly, all the details were disclosed. It was coincidentally on the way to Mel's university. Keisha stated that since this request was too powerful, the strategy for solving this request was up to them. Keisha explained that they still do not know the reason why the spirit is going wild, which is why the request is to calm it down. After the three were provided with all the information and basic necessities, they set out to go to the forest. Upon arriving, Dominique mumbled it was a small storm rather than a tornado. He then set up a protection barrier for them, and so did Eisen. This protected Dominique from almost getting skewered. He explained that he was just listening to the words of the spirits. Shortly, the three of them laid eyes on an egg-shaped figure. It was the spirit that was causing this havoc. Before getting close, Dominique stopped them. He figured that it wasn't just any spirit. It was a senior spirit, one that could take up a human form because of its enormous magic energy. Dominique immediately prepared himself for combat, but with one flick of a finger from the spirit, he was immediately blown away. Standing tall, facing the spirit, was Eisen, and Eisen assured him that they didn't need to fight the spirit, they just needed to talk to it. After a few blows and deflection of attacks, Eisen called the spirit, asking her for a conversation. The spirit refuses to speak in human language, but it turns out that she's a fan of Eisen and enthusiastically calls him the hero of the spirit world. And just like that, the spirit calms down. The senior spirit explained to Eisen what was happening, that she was assigned to keep the humans away from the miasma-generating beast until it was defeated. Hearing this, Eisen immediately offered to help her. He was already aware of how there were still a lot of beasts that generate miasma after eating the flesh of the evil god. After a good exchange of words, the spirit decided to leave it to Eisen while she watched from afar, and in case he couldn't defeat it, she had to restart the tornado. Watching what had just happened amazed Dominique. It's not every day that you get to witness such happenings, and that's why this made him happy. Eisen, his voice low and urgent, explained the situation to Dominique. He hadn't driven the senior spirit away. Instead, she was leaving them a parting gift, a horde of demon beasts. Their immediate threat, a monstrous horned mole, followed by a wave of at least 20 smaller, vicious creatures. These weren't just any beasts, they were miasma-clad, their forms obscured by a clinging, noxious fog. The true horror, however, lurked at the rear of this monstrous pack, the boss, a powerful, shadowy figure radiating an aura of malicious energy. Dominique offered a plan. We don't need to defeat them all, he stated, his eyes assessing the approaching danger. If we take down the boss, the rest will fall. His underlings are bound to his will, his death will be their death. But as the horned mole charged and the smaller beasts began to emerge from the shadows, it became clear that Dominique's elegant solution might prove more difficult to execute than initially anticipated. The sheer number of the creatures, their ferocity, and the formidable presence of their leader presented a daunting challenge. Their initial plan, it seemed, would require a significant amount of improvisation and perhaps a touch of luck. Rin and Eisen showcased their amazing collaboration. Dominique was in awe just watching how good the two were. The way they defeated the moles made it seem like it was easy, and he felt like his assistance was not needed there anymore. Seeing how the boss mole showed vibes of running away, Eisen immediately gave the finishing blow, slicing all the horned mole, including the boss mole. The battle ended just like that. Just when they were about to leave, a guy called out for them. It was the owner of the land and offered to give them a meal that would recover their magic, seeing how much magical energy they used to defeat the beasts. They took up the man's offer, and it did not disappoint them. Full and recovered, on their way out, Eisen remembered that one of his apprentices developed the crops that improved the recovery of magic. All of a sudden, his staff glowed, an indication that he had left his power there. What a good day it was, defeating a demon beast and recovering his magical power. Eisen, breathing a sigh of relief, retrieved the prophecy ranged enhancement. This invaluable artifact significantly expanded the range of the prophecies their prophet could accurately foresee, a crucial upgrade given their recent harrowing encounter. The pair returned to the guild, finding it unusually bustling. Word of their confrontation with the demon beasts, meticulously reported by Dominique, had spread like wildfire. The guild members, a mixture of relief and awe on their faces, buzzed with excitement. Eisen learned that the reward for their bravery and success had been increased tenfold, a testament to the severity of the threat they had averted. Meanwhile, at the Southern Magic University Branch School, Eureka presented her report to President Mel. Mel, perceptive as always, noticed a subtle shift in Eureka's demeanor, a curious intensity in the way the younger woman regarded her. Eureka, flustered, attributed her gaze to simple admiration for Mel's elegant hairstyle. However, Mel, with a knowing smile, revealed a hidden truth about her hair. It's not something anyone can casually touch, Eureka, Mel explained, her voice calm yet firm. Anyone attempting to do so will be instinctively repelled by a magical force. Only those with significantly greater magical power than myself, or those whom my heart accepts, can overcome this inherent protection. Eureka's eyes widened, understanding dawning on her face. The seemingly simple compliment held a deeper, more significant meaning. Mel read the report Eureka handed about the senior spirit and the demon beasts. Mel thought that they should improve the communication between the city and the university to better improve their collaboration. And then Eureka mentioned how the tools Mel crafted had helped them a lot already. Hearing this, she was pulled back to memory lane, where she asked for advice from her master to make those things. However, the problem of the demon beasts possibly attacking humans stands tall. The information shared between the university and the city is essential. On the other hand, Eisen and Rin have been defeating demon beasts left and right, selling their spoils to the alchemy company. After a day's work, over a cup of tea, the two decided to go south and visit Mel. The two headed to the alchemist's garden to see Eureka. However, they were told that she was at the university. Eureka's secretary offered to take them to the university since he was told to go if he had business there, which the two gladly accepted. At the university, the captain of the university guard reported a sudden fluctuation of magic on the south side of the university. Mel went ahead and cast a wide-range magic detection spell, seeing that Eureka realized just how powerful the president was. Moments after casting the wide-range magic detection spell, a distinct magical signature appeared on the screen, a Titan ogre. President Mel's surprise was palpable. The creature had cloaked itself with an invisibility spell, a feat unheard of for its kind. Its enhanced abilities, it seemed, were a direct result of consuming the flesh of the recently vanquished evil lord, a grim testament to the monster's power. Before anyone could react, the ogre launched a devastating attack, its immense strength shattering the very ground beneath their feet. Fortunately, President Mel's quick thinking and powerful defensive magic prevented any injuries among the staff and students. However, the university buildings suffered catastrophic damage, reduced to rubble and splintered wood. Undeterred, Mel immediately activated a short-range communication device, establishing clear communication channels and urgently ordering everyone to evacuate the damaged area and seek shelter. The swift and decisive action minimized further casualties, but the destruction left behind served as a stark reminder of the ogre's terrifying power. Rin and Eisen were on their way to the university when they saw dark smoke rising from the campus. The color of the smoke told them that a strong monster was attacking. Eureka's worried secretary quickly asked Rin and Eisen for help. He explained that Eureka, his boss, had many important memories at the school, and they needed to save it. Rin and Eisen didn't hesitate. They jumped right off their carriage and ran towards the university. When they got there, they found Eureka helping to dig students out from under the fallen buildings. She was sad and starting to lose hope that she could help the president and save everyone. Just then, Rin and Eisen arrived. Eureka was so happy to see them. They offered to help, and Eureka felt a lot better knowing they were there to help her save the university and her students. The three of them worked together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their combined skills and determination offered a renewed sense of hope in the face of the disaster. Eisen easily found the students who were trapped. He could hear their voices and followed the sounds, rescuing them one by one. He found them all, and it was like he was listening to a song, each voice guiding him. Meanwhile, Eisen's student, Mel, was in serious trouble. The giant ogre was too powerful. All of Mel's friends were hurt and lying on the ground. Mel herself had already been hit and was badly hurt. She felt hopeless and was ready to face the ogre's next attack, even though she knew she might not survive. Just as the ogre was about to strike again, Eisen suddenly appeared. He jumped in front of Mel and blocked the attack, saving her life. Mel was so relieved and happy to see her teacher. It felt like a long time since she had last seen him. She was safe now, thanks to her master's quick thinking and bravery. A wave of relief washed over her as she looked up at Eisen, grateful for his timely arrival. Mel was so shocked to see her master in the flesh that she thought she was dreaming. Eisen assured her that he was real, right beside her. He then helped her up and left her with the captain of the guards. Eisen told him Rin to help evacuate the others. He would be fighting alone. Mel and the captain of the guards watched Eisen in awe as he fought off the demonic beast. He used a series of enhancement magic and continuously lodged his attacks on the Titan Ogre, which it had a hard time regenerating. Lastly, with one fell swoop, Eisen used Doom's Judgment, slashing the beast in half and shattering its core. Eisen showered Mel with praise, even though he was the one who defeated the Titan Ogre, saying she deserved it for giving them time to help the students evacuate to safety. Everyone was surprised to see him touch Mel's hair since they had never seen anybody who was allowed to touch her hair. A feast that lasted days was thrown to celebrate their victory, and after that, it was time for them to say goodbye. Rin and Mel had become well acquainted as well, and they were going to head south, where one of his disciples resided as king. Eureka gave Eisen a letter, while Mel gave him a pass, both something he could benefit from. With that, the two left for another adventure towards the south. Mel and Eureka walked outside the university, looking at the nearly repaired buildings. The damage from the ogre's attack was mostly gone, a testament to the hard work and quick repairs. They headed to Mel's temporary office, a small space set up amidst the ongoing reconstruction. Eureka handed Mel the weekly report. Inside, tucked within the official documents, was a personal letter. It was from a fellow comrade announcing her upcoming trip south to the bustling trade city. Eureka gasped, realizing something important. "That's where Master Eisen is going," she exclaimed. Mel nodded, a thoughtful expression on her face. It was quite a coincidence that two of the Eisen students would be in the same city. Mel considered the implications. Eisen was traveling secretly, trying to remain hidden. But with two of his students now heading to the same place, it seemed his incognito journey might be ending soon. The trade city, with its many people and opportunities, might not be the best place for secrecy. Perhaps Eisen's next move would be to a quieter, less populated location. The thought of their master's next step added a layer of intrigue to their already busy lives. Eisen and Rin arrived at a town right before the trade city when he remembered how one of his disciples established a carriage company. The two decided to stop by one of its branches, and there they met a man who basically informed them everything about the correlation between the use of carriages and a town's economic progress, After the talk, the two immediately left. On their way to Trade City, they passed by a man whose carriage is not moving. Its unicorn was struck with a poisonous thorn, but luckily, Eisen removed the thorn, and his owner immediately made it drink a potion which healed it. Eisen skillfully repaired the merchant's broken carriage wheel, making it as good as new. The grateful merchant, a jovial man who introduced himself as Rue Harbor, offered Eisen and Rin a ride to the Trade City. They happily accepted, eager to continue their journey. As they traveled, Eisen commented on how well cared for the merchant's horse seemed, remarking on the obvious bond between the animal and its master. Rue Harbor chuckled, agreeing that his horse was indeed lucky to have him. Their peaceful journey took an unexpected turn when they spotted a damaged carriage lying by the roadside. Before they could investigate, a group of bandits emerged from the shadows surrounding Rue Harbor's carriage. They were rough-looking men, armed with daggers and threatening words. They demanded Rue Harbor's goods, threatening to kill him if he resisted. The situation escalated quickly. One bandit lunged forward, a dagger aimed at Rue Harbor. Just as the blade was about to strike, Eisen reacted instantly. With a swift movement and a subtle manipulation of the wind, he deflected the dagger, saving the merchant's life. The bandits, surprised by Eisen's skill, hesitated, giving Eisen and Rin a chance to assess the situation and plan their next move. The air crackled with tension as the confrontation continued. The bandits, angered by Eisen's quick reflexes, shouted insults, underestimating his strength. They charged at him, a flurry of blades flashing in the sunlight. But Eisen was too fast. In a matter of seconds, all the bandits were lying on the ground, defeated. The fight was over almost as soon as it began. They quickly tied up the bandits, making sure they couldn't escape. Later, they went to the local authorities and surrendered the bandits into custody. Rue Harbor, incredibly grateful, gave Eisen and Rin a generous reward for saving his life. Just as they were about to continue their journey, another man appeared. He introduced himself as David, a friend of Rue Harbor. David was overjoyed to find his friend safe and thanked Eisen and Rin profusely for their bravery and skill. To show their gratitude, David and Rue Harbor insisted on treating Eisen and Rin to a nice dinner, and arranged a comfortable room for them at a nearby inn. Eisen and Rin gladly accepted, happy to relax after their unexpected adventure, and enjoy the hospitality of their new friends. The evening was filled with laughter and conversation, forging a new bond of friendship amidst the excitement of the day's events. Rin and Eisen arrived at their inn room, surprised by its size. It was much larger than they expected. After David and Rue Harbor left them to settle in, Rin and Eisen decided to explore the city before dinner. They strolled through the bustling streets, taking in the sights and sounds of the Trade City. Later, they met David and Rue at the restaurant. The restaurant was elegant, and the atmosphere was lively. During their meal, David and Rue revealed a surprising fact. They owned the famous Kodadama's Door, a renowned establishment known for its high-quality food and entertainment. Eureka's letter was then handed over to them. Upon reading it, David and Rue were astonished to learn that their dinner guests were none other than Eisen, the legendary master of the 100 Heroes. The revelation hung in the air, a moment of stunned silence before the excitement of the discovery took over. As a final surprise, David and Rue mentioned that the musician scheduled to perform that evening was also one of the 100 Heroes. The evening promised to be even more memorable than they had initially imagined, a delightful confluence of chance encounters and unexpected revelations. The weight of Eisen's identity added an exciting layer to their already enjoyable evening. As the musician began to play, Eisen felt a familiar heartbeat. The music stopped abruptly. The musician, a woman with bright eyes and a warm smile, leaped across the room and threw her arms around Eisen. It was Fila, the hero of music, one of Eisen's students. She was overjoyed to finally meet her master again after a long time apart. Fila's excitement was infectious. After sharing a joyful reunion, Fila readily agreed to join Eisen, Rin, David, and Rue on their journey south. Dinner continued with lively conversation. Rin and Fila quickly bonded, discovering shared interests and a mutual appreciation for adventure. David expressed his strong desire to work alongside Eisen, eager to contribute his skills and knowledge. After dinner, everyone left Kodadama's Door main office. David and Rue, ever dedicated to supporting Eisen, headed off for their night shift, gathering information that could be useful to their esteemed guests and friends. The evening ended on a high note, filled with renewed friendships and exciting plans for the future. The unexpected reunion had added an element of excitement and camaraderie to their journey. Morning arrived, and Eisen was already at Kodadama's Door main office, meeting with David and Rue as planned. The deputy mayor also joined them. They had an important request for Eisen. Several domesticated magical creatures had suddenly turned violent and aggressive. The situation was causing significant problems, and the city needed help. Without hesitation, Eisen agreed to take on the challenge, and his expertise in handling magical creatures was highly valued. After Eisen and David left to investigate the rampaging creatures, the deputy mayor turned to Rue. He had another, more dangerous task. A researcher was suspected of secretly working with followers of the evil god. The researcher was known to be highly skilled and dangerous, and infiltrating their circle would be extremely risky. It was a mission that could easily cost Rue his life. Despite the inherent danger, Rue accepted the assignment without a second thought, his loyalty to the city and his friends unwavering. He knew the stakes were high, but the potential consequences of failing to uncover the researcher's activities were far greater. He was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Rin and Fila, upon hearing about the rampaging magical creatures, immediately volunteered to help Eisen. They wasted no time and set off for the ranch with him. When they arrived, the scene was chaotic. Several metal sheep, usually docile creatures, were running wild, their metallic bodies gleaming in the sunlight. They were clearly agitated and dangerous. David attempted to calm the sheep using word magic, a technique that involved using carefully chosen words to influence the creature's emotions. However, it proved largely ineffective. The sheep were too agitated, and the word magic only slowed them down slightly. The situation was rapidly deteriorating. Seeing the urgency, Eisen decided to try a different approach. He began speaking to the sheep in a calm, soothing voice, attempting to reason with them and understand the cause of their aggression. Meanwhile, Rin and Fila worked together, using their combined skills to try to contain the rampaging sheep, preventing them from causing further damage. Just as they began to make headway, Fila unexpectedly pulled out her violin. The sudden appearance of the instrument added a surprising element to the already tense situation, hinting at a unique solution. Fila began to play her violin. The music she played wasn't just beautiful, it had a powerful effect. It strengthened everyone who heard it, giving them the extra strength and focus they needed to safely restrain the metal sheep. However, one particularly aggressive sheep was out of the music's range. Before it could cause any harm, Fila acted swiftly. She extended her arm, stopping the sheep in its tracks. To everyone's surprise, she then revealed that she was actually an automaton, capable of separating parts of her body using magic. She had extended her arm far beyond its normal reach to stop the sheep. Meanwhile, Eisen returned, leading a large group of calmed metal sheep. They were docile and peaceful, a stark contrast to the agitated creatures they had been moments before. But their relief was short-lived. Another, even larger, group of agitated metal sheep appeared on the horizon, charging towards them. Despite the sudden threat, Eisen remained calm and collected. He dropped his staff, opened his arms wide, and stood his ground, seemingly preparing for a rather unusual confrontation. His calm demeanor in the face of danger was both surprising and reassuring. It was clear he had a plan, even if it wasn't immediately obvious. The metal sheep was about to attack Eisen, but he casually did a suplex throw, making the sheep lay flat on the ground. He then proceeded to calm down the rest of the sheep. On the other hand, Rue was already delivering goods for the researcher. Upon entering his home, he used the Eye of Discernment, which revealed a hidden door. When their team opened it, they saw a demon beast eating a metal sheep. As Eisen and his team approached the source of the problem, they stumbled upon a horrifying sight, a pile of human bones scattered among the agitated metal sheep. At that moment, a figure emerged from the shadows, the researcher they had been searching for. He had been caught red-handed, his secret exposed. Rue and his team, realizing the danger, attempted to escape the area, but they discovered the exit was sealed, trapping them inside. Meanwhile, Eisen had made a startling discovery. He discovered that someone was not only abducting the metal sheep but also consuming them. This explained their agitated state. Eisen, using his unique abilities, listened to the thoughts and feelings of the metal sheep. He learned that the culprit was a human, someone from their own city. The revelation was shocking and disturbing. Just as this disturbing truth sunk in, a loud explosion rocked the area, shaking the ground and adding another layer of urgency to the already dangerous situation. The explosion was a clear sign that the situation had escalated significantly, and the team was now facing a far greater threat than they had initially anticipated. The quiet investigation had suddenly become a desperate fight for survival. Rue and the others found themselves in front of a door where the mad researcher stood. He revealed a large magical beast called the Abyss Fenrir, which he had been raising and merging with it to harness its power. All of them were shocked to see this happen right before their eyes. He declared that he would be destroying the city with his newly acquired abilities. He threw a compressed mana cloaked with miasma, caused to blow up half of it. Rue and his team finally got out of the house with the help of Rue's defense magic. They warned everyone how a horde of demon beasts would be attacking the city. The Fenrir caused havoc to the city. Ru tried to deflect every condensed mana the Fenrir tried to fire at the city, but he was running out of defense charms. He was about to get bitten by one of the wolves when all of a sudden, Eisen arrived and defeated it. Reinforcement arrived. It was Eisen's team. Rin and Fila helped fight off the wolves and get the people to safety. The Abyss Fenrir immediately recognized Eisen through the evil god's flesh. It declared to terminate Eisen. But with the help of Eisen's magic and skills, it did not come easily for the Fenrir. It got beaten up and could not land an attack on Eisen. Eisen slashed off one of the heads of the Abyss Fenrir, but it was not enough to defeat it. He needed to remove all of its head. Eisen chanted, ready for his final blow, and just like that, the Fenrir was down, headless on the ground. By the time Fenrir was defeated, the deputy mayor arrived. He thanked Eisen and gave him his rewards. Everyone celebrated their success. However, the deputy mayor came to Eisen saying the mayor's schedule had changed and wouldn't be back soon. But it did not matter to Eisen since the place one of his disciples was in was one of the places he wanted to go. With that, the team bid farewell to Trade City and continued their journey. They traveled using a carriage. Everyone was having a good time listening to Ru explain each place they went through. It was like they were having a tour. However, Eisen spotted 4 violent grass lizards who has traces of miasma surrounding a fox. Eisen tried to talk to it, but they were too violent to listen, so he decided to exterminate all of them. And in a flash, none of the grass lizard were standing. The firefox child was badly wounded, and Eisen decided to heal it using one of Ru's potions. He talked to the potion and changed its components without hesitation. Even when the firefox was agitated, he brought it to his arms and healed it. And just like that, everything was good. Ru was amazed upon seeing this. They were about to leave, but it seemed like the firefox child wanted to go with them, so they all decided to bring it with them to the city. Eisen's team arrived at the magic city of Strata. They proceeded to the city hall, where they got a permit for the firefox and unicorn. There, they met the mayor's secretary, Melissa. Eisen handed her the letter from the deputy mayor, and just like everyone else's reaction, she couldn't believe it. As if on cue, Lynette Strike, the mayor of Trading City, arrived. She said that she had seen Eisen from the Ark while she was still having a meeting on the rooftop. She used to be the sniper of the 100 heroes. She said the meeting was conducted as an emergency. It was a situation she needed to survive. Eisen's team talked to the mayor of the Magic City, and they explained what was happening and how the Empress was acting peculiarly, closing off the mountains. Upon learning about what happened, Eisen offered to talk to the Empress because even if Lynette's arrow could reach the mountains, it was still dangerous to proceed without knowing the situation. Hearing how her master complimented her, Lynette asked for a pat on her head, which Eisen gladly did. The firefox went out from Eisen's pocket and looked at the mountain. Eisen proceeded to the Matter Mountain with a team given by the mayor of the Magic City to ensure their safety and information. They treaded towards the location of the Empress. While they were on their way, they could all feel how hot it was become and how there were hidden fire blows. However, from a distance they saw another magical beast. It was a middle cyclops, but it was already dead. They then proceeded to the Empress's dwelling place. On their way there, the heat just kept on rising, making everyone sweat so much. With the use of his word magic, Eisen asked the wind to give them a cold breeze. They were closing into the gates towards the Empress's dwelling. When they arrived, the gate was burnt, and the heat was so extreme that nobody else could possibly enter other than Eisen. Eisen walked into the Empress dwelling, where he saw her engulfed in flames, saying she could no longer control them because of her emotions. Eisen asked why she was angry, and as she spoke, the flames grew larger, and her daughter was taken away from her. Eisen calmly handled everything, the flames, and the overflowing lava, making sure that no one would be harmed by it. Everyone from the outside was seeing this with the help of Fila's power, and they were all in awe of Eisen's ability. Fila and Rin believe that if it is Eisen, the Empress will definitely calm down. After the Empress had said everything she wanted to say, Eisen offered to help her find her daughter. This initiation slightly calmed her down. Eisen asked her to describe her child, and upon learning about it, he realized that it was the child Firefox that they had rescued on their way here. Eisen informed the Empress about his, and just like that, the two were reunited. He had also discovered that her uncontrollable emotions were caused by a spell called Berserker, but it was a spell that could only take effect when the caster was within a kilometer radius. A large bird made himself seen. He introduced himself as Lord Garuda and declared that he would be the one to dispose of Eisen. But instead of Eisen dealing with the Garuda, he let the Empress fight him. She blasted him off with her fire. They thought that he was already defeated by that. but Eisen found it weird that he was so easily defeated since he confidently showed himself and declared his evil intentions. On the other hand, the people at Magic City were in a state of panic. A larger Garuda was headed their way. The mayor of the city immediately tried to set up the barrier to protect the city, but the Garuda was already closing in. This magic beast declared that he would be destroying the city as per the evil god's order, and with that, he started attacking the city. Melissa heard the news from the Magic City learning. Amira offered to help them. She made them ride her flames, making it faster for them to go down the path and head over to the city. On the other hand, the mayor of the city set up the barrier just on time. This blocked most of the attacks that were directed at them. Realizing that the attacks he was giving weren't working as effectively, the Garuda prepared another set of attacks using a different spell. Seeing this, the mayor knew that he wouldn't be able to handle this. However, when the attack was about to land on him, an arrow shattered the attack. It was fired by Lynette. Despite being miles away from them, she was able to help them. Lynette is positioned for the final attack and ready to shoot Lord Garuda. The moment Lynette's attack landed on Lord Garuda, it made a large hole in his body and erased the sight of his head. However, the attacks did not cease for Eisen. This was peculiar, so he went in and examined the body of the Garuda, and all of a sudden, its body melted. They realized that it was not his real body. The demon beast uses a spell that creates a perfect copy of their body, which was that, but where was his real body? Looking up, they saw Garuda's main body. Determined to shoot down Lord Garuda, Eisen told Lynette not to hold off her magic. She set her limiter off, making her release all the magic that she was capable of releasing. This one, she will be throwing her most powerful shot. Eisen was beside her, supporting her. He would be controlling the winds, making sure that the attack would land on Lord Garuda. And with that, Lynette set off a powerful attack. It's their final shot. The arrow followed Lord Garuda, and by the time the arrow landed on him, he fell to the ground. Eisen came close to take a look at it, but even though it was covered with wounds, bleeding his life out, Lord Garuda still managed to threaten Eisen and prepared his final spell. Cursing Eisen in the name of his master, you can really feel the hatred from the evil god for Eisen through him. Lord Garuda was so fixated on killing him that nothing would stop him. It was a do or die. Lord Garuda was screaming in anger, and his intent to kill was prominent. However, Eisen confidently countered this. With the help of nature, the skies, the wind, and all other entities, he struck the final blow that ended Lord Garuda. Several days after defeating Lord Garuda, Eisen, Rin, and Fila have decided to continue on their adventure. This time, they will be heading to the harbor city where one of his disciples resides. Ru also offered to tour them there. And with that, they set off. Lunit, as well, had decided to take some time off, observing her master from afar. On the other hand, one of Eisen's disciples visited the mayor of Magic City. It was King Duke. His eyes glimmered, knowing that his master was there. He persuaded the mayor to tell him which of his masters stayed, but when he arrived, they were already on their way to their next adventure, the harbor city.